Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Neki broadcast. Today we are playing Drake, which is an incredibly difficult faction to master. It is incredibly unforgiving, but at the same time, it can be extremely rewarding when you are executing the attack perfectly. Now, I am playing on Caves of the Basilisk versus Eagle Bat. 99, and I believe I remember this one to be an incredibly interesting game. So buckle up because we are going to see some really intense action. At least this is how I remember it. Let's say here full map. So I am going with a bunch of units like I usually do. You see a random burner thrown in just for good measure. I'm going a bit with a different village grabbing pattern than I usually do. So 2 units here, then this particular burner will come here, and this particular clasher would grab this village. Skirmisher down the middle, simply because terrain type favors a skirmisher in this cave, and a clasher here to defend against a potential chaotic incursion, and definitely the glider for scouting and for grabbing the far right village. Now, my opponent is Dwarf, and he hates Dwarf. I mean, you can see from his comments here that I know he hates his faction. So I was wondering what faction he had. And dwarves are not that bad, to be honest. I particularly like dwarves simply because with these guardsmen you can have some let's say some clarity. It's like I have a guardsman here and perhaps another fighter here. There is nothing passing through, absolutely nothing. So at least I can have this clarity. Plus, guardsmen are quite nice in attack simply because they are a deterrent for the enemy to attack them due to their increased resistance on defense. So I particularly like guardsmen. Also, griffins, if you amass them in large numbers, they are quite strong as well, although they are a bit volatile simply because they can, they only have 2 hits, and if you basically throw a griffin at your opponent's troops, he will prioritize that griffin simply because it's a high reward target. It's a lot of resources that you are throwing into the meat grinder. Standard village grabbing from my side, and I believe the same from my dwarf opponent. And this is very interesting. An Allseeker, this is another unit I like on a dwarvish side simply because Allseekers makes attack really clear. You are attacking this target, which is on a village. That target will die, or its hit points will get incredibly low so that you can finish it off with another target. But the Allseeker from only one spot will almost kill or even kill that particular target. So again, Allseekers make things clear. This is an incredibly strong attack. These 4 units have the potential of dealing tons of damage. So I'm not sure whether I am aware at this point that there is an attack coming on the right hand side, simply because I see on the left hand side, simply because on the right hand side I see no units. I see a slow guardsman. No, it's actually a quick guardsman, but it's a slow comparative when compared to this footpad or this thief. And with this particular skirmisher, I obviously see the outlaws, and I'm not sure whether I saw the Allseeker or not, but based on this glider, I know there is an attack on the right hand side. Therefore, I am recruiting this clasher here, which might have been a bit too late, to be honest. But we shall see here. So you see the griffin really happy with what he is seeing. Simply because I chose a burner, my recruiting is going to be slow. for a while, and he is going to have a backstab on the clasher. However, this is a strong resilient clasher, and this particular Offseeker cannot reach this clasher this turn. So if he goes for the backstab on the clasher, he will receive a ton of retaliation damage in return. So you have to understand this particular clasher deals during dusk, it deals 24 damage versus melee, even more versus the thief due to its resistance. So attacking this clasher, sure, it is backstabbing, but these two will be so hurt that they will have to run for their lives after this attack, therefore leaving my leader and a couple of other random units, leaving them with an easy job of killing whatever it's left. And mind you, this might not die, the clasher might not die from these two attacks in the backstab. This is not a strong thief. So from this particular perspective, I'm not too worried on the left-hand side. So you will see exactly what I did on the left-hand side. I chose to stay. So I have here a burner. Basically, I'm saying you want to come for this clash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You will have to basically zone of control the clasher, right? So if you zone of control the clasher, these two units have melee. I will be using the burner to deal damage safely with leadership. 2 burners. I will be able to make quick work of your units. I am interested in attacking during the night. If you think about it, clashes and burners, they don't deal that much less damage during the night, simply because they have more strikes, but the damage per strike is not that large. So I was showing here I'm willing to fight, so I could have at least have killed 1, 2, 3. I had 3 units plus reinforcements. Could have at least killed the thief, depending on how successful his attack was. Also, this particular skirmisher here, if the Obseker moves forward, the skirmisher is prepared to take this 60% village and basically start hunting down this Obseker. So pretty aggressive play from both sides, with an early Obseker recruit and with me staying in the village with the clasher. And let's see what my opponent did. My opponent went for the glider. Okay, I even forgot to comment on this. So I took the village with the glider. Why? Because I saw commitment coming on the left hand side, so I was scared he will commit. So I said, okay, I'm getting this village with the glider. I have the threat of the skirmisher getting one of these villages. So if he does go for the clash, and if he does kill it, and if he does get the village, I would have some villages in return, and I would have some hopefully hurt units to start chipping away at. I wasn't too bothered about the glider, to be honest, so I am actually quite happy that he turned around to get the glider, and you see, he even had the clasher here to get this particular village. So I was basically saying, if you are going to commit to that attack, you are going to lose 1, 2, 3 villages, and probably I'm going to be dealing some damage. So knowing that, seeing how he basically turned around, what I should have done here in hindsight, I should have built up my attack on the left hand side. However, what I did was a bit silly. I moved all my units towards the right. I was basically going to say, look, you are not going to attack on the left hand side. You are not serious on the left hand side, so I am going to switch sides and attack here. Why here? Because here there is a big open space. If you look at it, my drakes can fly over this this water, my drakes can fly over this terrain, whereas here on this side there is this annoying cave. There is a funnel where my units would go. I mean, plus this cave is not good for flying, this is not good for flying, these are not good for flying. It's like a choke point. It feels like a choke point. You should not be attacking into this choke point, especially not versus dwarf. So I was trying to change, and you see, I even recruited on this side another fighter, and he, of course, he's trying to kill my glider, and I'm sure he will kill the glider eventually. Now, so I am already one unit lost. Now it's second watch, and here I'm making another mistake, and I don't remember. I don't know why I made this mistake. I mean, it's second watch, right? So we are not talking about the previous situation. So I should have never retreated towards this side. It's second watch. He deals more damage. He deals more damage with the poacher. He deals more damage with the thief. The backstab is much more potent, right? So he just made back and forth, but again, he's putting pressure on my clasher. So, continuing to move wouldn't have put me in the best of positions anyway. I would have probably lost the clasher, a village, and I would have had to reallocate resources anyway. So instead of me staying on this side, getting a strong position, I basically had to move back and forth, losing my momentum. So there is no way I'm able to attack. Now you see I'm going back with most of my units. I'm going back to the left-hand side. And again, I'm making a statement. If you want to attack, sure, backstab. But I have so many units prepared to deal damage back. However, my attack on the right-hand side is dead and forgotten. I am for second watch. I am in my own defense zone instead of going towards the attack. I've basically seized control of the game to my dwarf opponent, and he knows it. I know it. Well played from his side. He has basically the momentum at this point in time. So you'll see him basically building up his forces, recruiting the right composition and retreating. He says, well, why would I attack into that? No point. But now, dawn, I should have been with my drakes lined up here, putting pressure on this village and this village. Where am I? I am in the middle of nowhere. I could have perhaps been here and then put pressure on this village, but I'm nowhere. I just basically did this move from left to middle and then from middle to left. I'm trying to muster some kind of pressure. I'm trying to mount a bit of pressure onto him, right? And I'm still trying to kind of build up my right side flank, but this is just me being a dreamer. There is no way the fight is going to come back to this side. The dwarf opponent would not let it happen. So he is absolutely going to chill, simply because I can't even reach this village. So you see how cautious he is. He basically says, look, it's morning. You want to attack? Sure, go ahead. Not a problem, but you only have a 70% thief to attack. That's it. Will you go for it? Into this funnel, into this tunnel, basically. Will you go for it? And what I did was basically put my units in a more aggressive position, but he knows that it's morning. I will not attack in the afternoon. It's too scary. And as you can see, I'm building up my forces in terms of drakes. I'm not recruiting any Saurians. I'm basically investing in a very strong day army. Now he is smart because he's investing in Thunderers. So you'll see probably now one more Thunderer. Oh no, never mind. There should be one more Thunder, right, as far as I can remember. 2 Thunderers, poachers, backstabs, guardsmen, another poacher. So it has a lot of peers, this army, if you think about it. There's a lot of peers. So from this perspective, I should have probably switched to Saurians, simply because, imagine Saurian Augurs. Saurian Augurs killing this thief. Yeah, sure. Ulfseeker is a problem, but there are skirmishes for that, right? Skirmishes are more efficient than the Ulfseekers. But imagine 2 Saurian Augurs killing the thief. Then the only unit left to present any real damage to the Augurs would be this fighter. Because all the other units would be scared to attack the Augurs. So for example, Guardsman is not scared of of anybody, more or less. But for example, these archers, they would have been very inefficient. Plus, augurs heal my army. There was no reason why I shouldn't switch to augurs. So from this perspective, continuing to recruit fighters, probably not the best idea. His army counters my units quite well, so I have to give it to Igor for building the right composition. Props to him, well played. Slowly building the right composition. As you can see, I'm just trying to build a nice looking flying army. Perhaps put another clasher here so I can free up my burners, so my burners can go left, and these clashers basically put them on these villages and forget about them, while the more attack oriented units can go on the left. So I'm also slowly steering my units in the direction of moving the fight towards the left. I'm basically stuck on the left. However, I should recruit more augurs, which I'm not doing. So he is pushing forward at this moment with absolutely everything he has. He's going to mount a huge attack on the left hand side, and there is no way I can stay here on this particular occasion because I was slow in attacking and I was moving left and right. You see his Aufseeker compared to the other two times, the Aufseeker can attack my village, so he's in a strong position. Anything I put here will die. He even has his leader, insult to injury. So this turn, I'm slowly falling behind. Last turn, I had bad positioning, bad defense. This turn, I am basically losing a village. So I'm going lower, 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 and lower. And he is slowly building up an advantage, which is very good from his side. One thing that is not going well for him is that his leader is so advanced. Sure, he's banking. Yeah. So at this point, he's banking, but his leader is not in a position to recruit. He will need more turns to recruit. Again, he's getting those villages. He's building up the gold advantage. I don't even have enough money to recruit. I built 2 skirmishes. Why? To deal with those Aufseekers mainly. You can see here I even have the footpads. Putting pressure, 3 units should be enough to scare him away. Now, I retreated even more. I stayed outside of the reach of this Aufseeker. Again, I really don't want to fight during nighttime. So if you look at the number of the sheer number of units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he has 9 units. I have 8 units. Okay, make it 9. But I mean, he look at his bank, 63 gold. Look at my bank. If you remember, last time 11 gold. So he's in a much better position than I am. He's doing a marvelous job of creating the impression that he has more units than he actually has. So, for example, 2 units here on this flank, keeping in check 1, 2, 3, 4 of my units. Here, this attack creating the impression that there are waves of enemies coming, but actually nothing is coming. You see, I'm even sending this fighter down the middle to see what is actually going on. You see, we're retreating. He has absolutely nothing. You see, these Thunderers, I saw these Thunderers at this point. I should have started recruiting accordingly. I should have switched to Saurians. 4 Thunderers. This means that I should recruit 3 Augurs. That is 3 Augurs more than I currently have. I'm putting these skirmishes so I could intimidate his Aufseeker. And again, I'm continuing to build. Although I saw here with this fighter, I saw his recruits. 1, 2, 3 peers. That should have been the cue for me to go and recruit some Saurians, which I think I did not, but we shall see. Again, very well played from Igor, very well structured and well organized. And you see here, it's dawn. And where am I at dawn? I am in the middle of nowhere. Again, I'm really struggling to mount an attack. I'm really pushing my units as forward as possible. I'm stretching the capability of my units. I'm even putting this fighter here to help out with the attack, right? So I'm really stretching. This was maximum reach from those fighters. They attack a guardsman, which is not what you want to do. So basically I'm saying, my fighters are forward. If you want to go back, attack me, do it now. I'm actually a bit scared here. I mean, if you look at the number of units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, it's more or less equal. But still, I feel that if you would just attack these two fighters and kill them, then it would be 12 to 9, right? So I would be the one which would need to catch up. And imagine killing these fighters with all these Pierce warriors and then just pushing the guardsman forward. Good luck killing the guardsman efficiently. Well, I do have 3 burners, so but still 3 burners on 1 guardsman, and that's it. There's a hill here, there are mountains. I personally, 60%, 60%, 70%, 60%, I would have personally killed these 2 fighters, pushed my guardsman forward. Well, not that, guardsman here, I would have said on 14, 11, and I would have formed a line of 60%, 70%, 60%, and I would have been fine. This is how I would have played it. However, I was so desperate in gaining back some momentum, right? It's a cycle, and in each cycle, I should also be capable of putting some pressure on these villages, that I didn't care. I basically took a risk here, right? I pushed my units forward. I took a risk that he might kill them easily. And I said, I want to push them forward. Why? Because if he tries to kill them and fails, then I might have some easy kills. If he doesn't try at all, then at least I have gained some terrain, right? So this is why I took this risk. Sorry for the slight interruption, ladies and gentlemen. So as I was saying, took a risk with these 2 Drake fighters. However, my opponent would have none of it. He is in the lead and he knows it. He just needs to sit tight and enjoy the fact that at first day I am basically stuck somewhere in the middle of the map. So he's even preparing a second attack. So what he's doing here, he's basically preparing a 2 prone attack, one on the right side, one on the left side, knowing that as Drake is really difficult for me to defend both sides. So he knows he has the advantage. He even has 1 unit extra, and the positioning, I would be too slow to do anything, right? So there it is. So look, these clashers cannot reach anything. This burner cannot reach anything. This so many units cannot reach anything from my side, and I should be absolutely attacking from all sides during first day. However, I am unable to do so. So brilliant defense here, taking full advantage of this cave. There's really not much that I can do. So I'm noticing the fact that I'm slowly falling behind. So what I could have done is I could have started recruiting Saurians, basically balancing out the unit composition, and played it safe, basically, made a line here, played it safe. However, I was in the mood of taking risks, so I said I'm going to force an attack, and you are going to see what happened. So that was one of the few units who could reach a dwarf. As you can see, all the others cannot reach, trying to make some kind of a line here. And I am attacking a guardsman with 2 fighters. This is really pushing the issue, because look, I can't really support this unit. This unit is basically in a choke point, and 3 units can attack it. This is 50% guardsman. I'm not passing through. This is a 60% tile for dwarf. This is 60% tile for absolutely everybody. I'm not going to go through here. there's a guardsman on this entrance, another guardsman on the other entrance. There is this cave in the middle, which makes fighting here incredibly difficult. This is not taking risks. This is, if I may, to be critical, this was stupid of me. That is the politically correct word to describe my actions. It was absolutely, utterly stupid. I was stupid at this point. So I'm basically feeding away these two fighters, plus leaving my opponent in an absolutely amazing position, closing this cave down. Cute play on this side, though. I basically use my leader to threaten this Griffin Rider. I attacked Griffin Rider with my Drake fighter, and also the Griffin Rider has nowhere to go, simply because these two fighters are guarding the exit. So from this perspective, I can see the let's say the motivation behind my actions. However, this is 30% Drake. Remember, it's a glass cannon. It deals tremendous amount of damage. Had I used this on the poacher, however, this will die to Thunderous in a heartbeat. So let's see how he played. I'm going to play. So hits with the Thunderer, which is incredibly painful, and this Elfseeker is basically going to be incredibly strong simply because he still has 29 hit points left, so it's totally reusable. Now he can happily recruit another Elfseeker and again keep shooting, and he misses this one, which is some hope for me. However, he hits the other one, which is fair. I mean, 30%. I wouldn't expect it any other way. Look, this is the only problem with these Thunderers. So if they hit, they are absolutely fantastic. If they don't, they are there is really no adjective to describe them. They are zero. They are useless. So it's all or nothing. That is the problem with these Thunderers. From this perspective, again, Augurs, which I'm not recruiting, should have been absolutely fantastic to deal with these Thunderers. He's slowly inching forward. He wants basically a Drake sandwich on the long run, and he's even going to get that fighter, adding insult to injury. And now this Griffin Rider is absolutely free to roam and do whatever it pleases, and I think he's not going to press the issue anymore. He's not going to risk misplacing his units. He is just going to, again, Guardsman on 30%, closing down this avenue of attack. Loads of important units behind. And I mean, look, it's afternoon, so I should already be retreating, right? This is the dynamics of the game. Even his leader is here to attack me. However, since I was kind of all in with my attack, and I've already lost 2 units plus the initial glider, I decided to stay and try to deal as much damage in return as possible, which for the most part is fine for Drake because they deal so much damage, right? I'm taking advantage of Drake faction, of the perks of Drake faction. However, because of this cave here, and this was my strategic failure, it is impossible. I mean, I can attack this Guardsman, which is on 30% with fire. I have 3 burners, so that should deal a lot of damage. However, as you can see, I've already closed myself on the Thief. I've already wasted 1 tile for the Thief. I mean, I would need all tiles on this Guardsman, unfortunately. So you see, I did a lot of damage, but I do need all tiles. So there it is. And now it's a bit... So I would need to kill this Thunderer, which is on 30%. So I have a Clasher here, which hits decently. And I'm using the Saurian Skirmisher. Not sure whether that was the best move or not, simply because I wanted to reach here to this Elfseeker, but then I suddenly realized that, oh, the Thunderer and the Thief are actually closing down the line, so there was no way I could reach there. So suddenly I find myself in this tough spot, having killed only 2 dwarves in return. So theoretically, it's not that bad. However, remember, it's dwarves' turn to attack, and he still has a lot of thunderers, which can deal tremendous damage. So I'm trying to form here a line, right? So to prevent him from backstabbing me. So I will even move, I think, I'll move this fighter, or at least the skirmisher. I will move it to, of course, with the griffin being gone, there was no point for my leader to stick around. And again, I'm moving the fighter here so I can try and support as much as possible. And finally, I'm starting to see the potential of August here. I'm starting to wake up, but it might be too little, too late. So you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units, 6, 7, 8 units, which are absolutely inefficient versus August. So there's no point in not recruiting August, killing the thief, killing the griffin, killing the dwarvish fighter, and then watch how all the other units struggle to kill my August. Anyway, so I'm starting to revert to Saurians, and I get a bit scared on this side seeing these 2 poachers. And again, I'm closing the flank with the Saurian skirmisher. Now, he has a lot of options. So he can basically zone of control this clasher. Look, he has 60% here. He can also try to shoot. He has tons of options. He can even use his Offseeker, for example, on this skirmisher, which I would have personally done if I was dwarf. Exchanging units at this point is absolutely in his favor. And he is going to go for the skirmisher, which is on 60%. Probably not the best target. However, you see the Saurian on 40%, quite vulnerable. And he is going to shoot the Saurian. So 1 more unit died, and now it's looking grimmer and grimmer. So you see this particular poacher is locking down this clasher. And is he going to shoot? Yes, he's going to shoot. And is he going to go with the guardsman as well? Yes, he is. And fortunately, it doesn't deal too much damage. So I only lost 1 unit here. So the cave also protected me in a way. However, I can't keep pushing here. I can't really surround these units and kill them in order to use the full potential of the Drake faction. So you see him getting shot here and there. So my unit, it might seem that I only lost a unit, but actually I lost a lot of hit points. I am quite weak at this point, and look what is coming my way. So it is an incredibly difficult situation. Look at the trap closing in on the Drake. The only saving grace is actually the cave that initially prevented me from attacking. Plus here he has numerical superiority, so I'm losing fight on both left flank and on the right flank due to the way Igor is basically masterfully using his swarming ability with dwarf. Any faction can swarm versus Drakes simply because Drake units are so expensive. But let's see how I played it from here. So I know I'm losing the fight, and I also want to retreat, but simply retreating, it just didn't seem enough. It seemed that I had to again take some risks. So I said I'm going to retreat on this particular land swathe, and I'm going to get some kills as I retreat, simply because it's still dusk, so I can deal some healthy amounts of damage, for example on this dwarvish fighter. So I think I used another burner, so there you go, 2 burners killing the fighter. So the ogre is more is stronger at this point. This particular clasher is dead, might as well use it on the thunderer. but no joy here, not enough damage, not enough damage to finish off this Thunderer from this slot. Therefore, I try to go around and basically swap my attention, focus my attention on this Poacher, and luckily for me, I get 3 out of 3 here on 50%. So that basically opens up the possibility of killing the Poacher, which I don't, so I have to use my Skirmisher to finish off the Poacher, which is fine. So another 2 kills from my side. So this is making a terrible situation. I'm trying to salvage some of it, basically. And now the logical move would be Burner on 40%, attacking the Guardsman and basically forming a block of units, which would wait for the Dwarvish fighter on hills, and Dwarf, should he attack, should be on grass. So this is exactly what I did, forming this particular flock of units here, and I did made 2 out of 4, could have been better. It's 30% at the end of the day, but the logical move here would have been move the fighter on the hill again to have a nice positioning versus the incoming Dwarf, and no, not even that, move the Clasher on the hill and then close the gap with the fighter from here or even here. Make sure there is a nice blockade against the Dwarf, and this is what I'm doing. However, I believe, again, switching to Skirmisher has the same idea. So Skirmisher is resistant to, it has slight resistance to pierce, and also is quite efficient in killing these Oathseekers at night. Plus, it enables me to kind of match the swarming ability of the Dwarf, because it's a relatively cheap unit. Now, I should have realistically just kept my fighter here. That would have been the optimal move, closing down the front line. However, I wanted to see whether I could get 3 out of 3 or not. Again, I felt that I needed to take risks, and when you take risks, things like these happen. So 0 out of 3, and he gets 2 hits in. So from this perspective, I was unlucky. However, he's also unlucky, so no reason to complain there. But with these Thunderers, those stats are going to fluctuate. So remember, it's 0 or nothing. So if you get 1 less hit with your Thunderers, then your stats are going to be significantly impacted. Anyway, that was a mistake, I feel. Should have been here. Now I am retreating because basically I feel there is nothing I can do here to prevent this invasion. In hindsight, I could have recruited the Skirmisher on this particular tile, and I could have helped out a bit closing the front line, rather than keep focusing on the left-hand side. So let's see what happens here. Again, 2 units thrown into the meat grinder. Extremely poor play, but again, if it's not these 2 units, it's going to be these units, so might as well be these 2 units. Let's see what he did. So again, he's going for the invasion on the right-hand side, really wants to kill that Clasher, misses one with the Thunderer, hits with the other one, 2 out of 2. That is absolutely, it hurts. It's going to go for the Burner. That is going to hurt even more. It's going to be lethal, actually. 3 out of 3. So suddenly 3 of my units died. That is absolutely incredible. And you see, I can't get any hits with my fighter in retaliation. I mean, I wasn't asking for much. I was asking for some hits on the Thief, so that the Thief is not that strong at night. So terrible turn for myself. I lost 3 units here quite quickly, and another 2 units here also quite quickly. 5 units. 5 units. That is painful. In hindsight, so this is, you should learn from my mistakes as well. It would have perhaps been better if I would have retreated with absolutely everybody. However, if I retreated with absolutely everybody, I wouldn't have been able to kill those 2 units. So judging by the difference, it seems like I lost 5 units, but I also got to kill 2 units in return, and some of these units are weak. So from this perspective, I actually lost only 3 units, which is, again, it's a huge number. This particular Ovsika is dangerous, so it's worth sacrificing the Clasher, plus the Clasher here slows down a bit his advancement even more. And really, there is no choice for me to deal with all these units. I have no other choice than to recruit Saurians. So, again, there is no immediate threat to this village, so I decide to be aggressive. I mean, these poachers are going to kill me. However, they are incredibly weak on melee, so I decide to take advantage of that, and I'm going to use melee attacks on all these poachers and bring these Saurians to help out and also recruit more Saurians. So, actually, if he's not careful with these 4 units, he might be in some trouble, because this particular, Saurians can catch up to this army and kill it. So, as you can see, I'm using my clashes to their full potential, also helping out with the skirmisher. I'm even attacking here, I think, although it's not the wisest. I mean, you see, I got 2 out of 2. However, I want to relieve pressure on these clashes, because it seems to be a very important objective for him. He wants to put the guardsmen on this village, because with the guardsmen on this village, it'd be incredibly difficult for me to kill the guardsmen. So I'm saying, okay, you want to kill the guardsmen? Fine, then please, let me do some damage with my skirmisher. You want to switch to the skirmisher? Then let the clasher live. I said guardsman, right? Before. I should have said clasher. So clasher is a very important objective for him. Anyway, as you can see, I'm retreating now, and I'm exchanging the clasher for the Ovsika, as I said before. And with the rest of the army, I am retreating, and as you can see, I am out of harm's way for the time being. Right? So the fact that I stopped at this swathe of land, it meant that some of his units can't really cross that efficiently. For example, the thief. Although these dwarves, they don't really care. Well, there is this particular swamp in the middle, so it was a decent retreat. However, losing 5 units, that's just, I am basically, my life is hanging by a thread at this point. We shall see how he played it. Obviously, he wants to clear down this clasher, and he does. Nice experience into the Griffin Rider. Again, any damage he manages to cause to my clashes is absolutely devastating for myself. Anyway, again, I'm 5 units behind, and as you can see, he prioritized the clasher again and the village. In my opinion, he shouldn't have bothered with the village. This was his mistake, I would say. He should have finished off the skirmisher. So skirmisher only has 5. He should have used the footpad to finish off the skirmisher. At this point, with 5 units behind, I am starved for units. Villages, it's only a matter of time. I will lose villages. It's not a problem. But, the fact that he took a village, it means one of his units, instead of attacking, wasted time to grab a village. My skirmisher lived, which can be used in the future to do damage, right? So I can recruit. I mean, sure, my supply is freed because I lost 5 units, so suddenly I have good income. But the fact that this skirmisher lived, and this was his mistake, I dare to say, it's pretty big. Also, another thing going for me, he was threatening to use his leader all this time. So he has a huge bank. However, he was not able to recruit. Therefore, he had to go 1 turn back, and then he will start recruiting. So I'm aware of this because I saw his leader positioning. So I'm aware that what I see is what I get. Sorry about that. There are no more units coming for the time being. I mean, imagine dwarves strength reinforce this. It would be pretty slow. So basically, I know there is nothing coming on the right-hand side. So that's why I can be pretty courageous with my clashes. So I actually intend to, as you can see, I am starting to build a numerical superiority. I intend to feed on these units because they are not going back home, it seems. I mean, clash are here, and then nobody is living here alive. So from this perspective, the fact that the leader had no business being into this fight. He should have kept his leader back and kept recruiting. So I think second mistake. Don't get me wrong, these are slight mistakes. I made many mistakes in this game. Okay, pretty dire for me. So every single unit that I use counts. I need my hits with the magic attack. So I'm getting 3 out of 3, which is lucky. But it's needed at this point. I mean, I need luck if I'm going to stay in this game. But again, because this skirmisher is low on life, I'm not going to risk attacking this footpad. So I'm going to instead focus on this flock of enemy units. You saw the guardsman dealing only 4 damage to the augur, and the augur dealing quite a lot of damage to the guardsman. So you see how good augurs are versus this type of army, Pierce-based army. And I recruit another augur, which is pretty interesting positioning, simply because it locks this footpad from doing anything else. So from this perspective, I think footpad going on this village was a dead position with 0 perspectives. And again, I'm going for this particular poacher, and I am killing the poacher, which is really important because, again, poacher was the damage dealer in this equation. So now my clasher has the chance of surviving, right? And already I'm starting to close the gap in units killed, which is, I mean, I'm seeing this is dying. These 2 are dying. So it's looking good. I mean, this particular invasion on the right-hand side is what is currently keeping me in the game. On the left-hand side, I'm just falling back, running for my life. As you can see, I don't even care about villages. I'm just going back. And that was interesting positioning. I am basically abusing the fact that the Thunderers only have 4 movements. So you see, it's pretty sad that he can't reach me. The poacher can reach, but I doubt that the poacher will be attacking a burner. That is one saving grace in my attack. The burners stayed alive. I mean, most of them. I had one that died. As you can see, this guardsman 4 movements. So I am retreating way back, but it doesn't have to be that way back, as you can see, because not many units can reach me. So that is enough of a retreat. So again, all these units here, they are getting only 1 village for their effort, which is, quite a good bonus for me. I only have 3 units here, and I'm basically running away from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units. Whereas here it's pretty even, and I'm winning because I can reinforce. 4 out of 4 with the poacher was a bit painful, because now the guardsman can get the village. However, the guardsman getting the village means the guardsman is not dealing any damage, so there is always an upside to everything. So guardsman in the village, this means that our dwarf opponent has a reliable advantage in terms of income for quite some time from now on. It's very difficult to kill guardsmen. So I'm just going to play turn. He's understandably being very aggressive, pushing his units forward, and it's important to see his recruits. He is focused on reinforcing as soon as possible. So you see footpad, griffin, and here is more of a let's say long-term reinforcement. So 2 quick and 1 long-term, which is fine. It's I would guess standard in these situations. I am clearly I dare to say I'm clearly in a very difficult situation. I lost a lot of units, and the only upside is that all these units are hurt. They are, in the yellow. That is the only thing going for me. But other than that, also day is coming. That's another thing going for me. For example, this particular poacher and the thief will not deal that much damage. Another thing going for me is that these are highly volatile units, Thunderers. They don't deal reliable damage. If these were poachers, I would be even more scared. Anyway, I can't keep going back here. I mean, I can't keep giving him villages because I won't be able to take villages back. So this is where I decided to make a stand and take some pretty big risks, and you will see what I mean. So I will start probably with the reliable side, where damage is pretty much guaranteed. You see, I got to heal my skirmisher, therefore my skirmisher can now be used to deal damage, and it's not dealing too much, but it should deal enough for the augur to finish off the unit. And this particular griffin, I don't think it can reach me. So you see, was not that lucky here, but I was able to use 3 units to kill the poacher. Now I am kind of forced to kill this footpad. So yes, kill footpad. I just don't have time to get villages. But at this point, units are more important than villages. So you see, I managed to do quite a lot of kills. I managed to achieve quite a lot of kills on the right hand side, which is basically slowly closing the gap. However, remember, 2 guardsmen in villages. Dwarf still has the advantage. However, it seems there is nothing to dispute my sovereignty on the right hand side. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. He has only 1 guardsman as far as I can see. Of course, I can't see the griffin. Now on the left hand side, it will take ages until my right hand side comes and reinforces. So again, this is where I decide to take risks. Basically, this is basically all or nothing. So I want to deal some damage. So I'm going to put my leader here, and I'm going to attack the only unit. Okay, I'm disconsidering this Offseeker and Guardsman because Guardsman doesn't deal that much damage, although this is a strong Guardsman, he deals quite a lot. Offseeker is at risk of dying himself, and all other units are ranged. So I am basically focusing on the ranged, on the melee unit. I'm trying to deal as much damage as possible. 2 out of 4, it's not that bad. However, 0 out of 4, that hurt. So at this point I said, this is probably lost. I don't want to give him the opportunity to go for my leader. So as you can see, I am preventing the backstab with this formation. Also, every single one of my units is being led from my leader. Also, my herd unit, which is the clasher, is only exposed from 2 slots. So if I were him, I would have used my 2 Thunderers on the clasher, see what happens, see what would have happened. Then I would have used perhaps my Guardsman on the burner. But remember, it is dawn and I am being led here, so we shall see how he played it. But 30%, 30%, 30%, they are being led. However, he can just try to go for it and take risks versus 30% simply because he has the superior income. If I were him here and I wanted to, if I was doing a competition, I would not take any risks. I would just park my Guardsman here. I would have my Guardsman parked here. And I would just shoot this clasher, position my units into hills otherwise, and wait, see what happens. I am the one who should take risks, not him. And this is quite interesting. So he basically is really confident in his advantage. So he has two reliable, and three, but two of them reliable sources of income, and he is going to make sure he reinforces quite quickly, especially since he sees all these skirmishes, right? So it's actually Blade is quite efficient in killing skirmishes and augurs, so Saurians in general. But also these Griffin riders, they are also, especially these intelligent quick, they die quite easily. So, and they are very, very expensive. So it's a double-edged sword. Luckily for me, he misses with the gun. So he could have still shot with the other gun here, right? Just deal your damage. However, he missed with the first gun, and now he said, oh, this is not a valid target anymore, simply because I can't really kill it with my guns. So he switched his attention to this burner, which is intelligence strong, right? So he actually shot the burner, and I'm dealing here I'm dealing full damage, but to be fair, he also dealt his full damage, right? So yeah, that hurt now. And now I expected him to use the Oathseeker, but apparently the Oathseeker didn't have more than 30% chance to kill, simply because this has 10-2. That is 20 damage. Plus, 20 damage, that is a lot of damage. He can kill basically the Oathseeker in 3 shots, which is absolutely incredible. He goes for the burner, and luckily for me, so again, this was me taking the risk. I had no other choice, so the game was pretty much over for me. So I took the risk. Can you blame me? What else can I do? So it's not my fault that he missed 3 out of 3. So at this point, basically nothing can kill my burner. If I was him, I would have used the Oathseeker, and then I would have used something else as well. It's, again, I don't know. It's a difficult situation here. I would have said shoot the Clasher and then take no other risks. But what he did is basically use the Thunderer, which makes no sense, because probably he was a bit frustrated with the fact that the Guardsman didn't hit at all. So the Thunderer cannot kill the burner. However, the burner can kill the Thunderer. So and he misses, which is good for me. And now my burner is close to leveling up, and now he says too lucky. But I was lucky with this. But again, I played poorly. I made some bad strategic decisions. I lost a lot of units. I made some sort of minor comeback, I would say, by killing this force on the right hand side. But on the left hand side, the situation was dire. I had no other choice but to stand ground on 30% versus 30%, and I did. So, well, I was lucky, yeah, but did I have any other choice? I played poorly, so I had to take the risk. So you see now, when you take such risks, it can really backfire on your opponent, especially if you are using Thunderers to attack. So now he's doing what I said previously. He is basically taking high defense terrain, waiting in villages, but he has already 3 units on vulnerable terrain type. So at this point, I am basically making a Fire Drake, which should be absolutely impossible to kill. Especially with all these range, this is an impossible target for our dwarf opponent. Then I still have melee units, which are pretty strong, but I'm not even going to use the melee. I'm going to use the Augur, simply because I want to use the melee to kill as many dwarves as possible. Again, I am continuing to take risks. I went for the Oathseeker simply because I did not want the Oathseeker to kill the Augur. And I went with the burner first simply because I did not want the Clasher to take too much damage before killing the Oathseeker, right? So it took 6 damage, but now The Clasher is in a great position to level up, and you see the positioning of my units. He can't really do much. He can go for the burner again, but now it was basically, again, it was a difficult situation because he had to attack the burner with range, but I was lucky. But again, this is what can happen. You are behind, game is lost, you make a move like this. Again, it was a risk, but it was not something like, look, I'm putting this in water and then he can hit it from 5 sides. It was an interesting formation here. It was he couldn't backstab me. The wounded unit could only be hit from 2 positions, so it kind of made sense mathematically, theoretically at least, for him to switch attention to the other unit here. So it can pay off. So basically this move, but it was my ticket to come back into the game, which, again, watch my positioning here. I'm realizing reinforcements are coming, so I'm not going to fight a guardsman on the village. There's absolutely no way I'm going to do this. I'm putting obviously I need to grab this village back, so I'm putting the wound, logically I'm putting the wounded one in the village, and I'm putting these 2 out of reach of the griffin, out of reach of the other griffin, and the guardsman, if he wants to attack, he would have to either attack the skirmisher, which will deal, say, decent amount of retaliation damage, or it will have to attack this 60% target. So I'm frustrating this guardsman. He can't really do anything useful. Plus, the Clasher is healing to fight another day. There's no point in fighting this full HP guardsman when reinforcements are coming. So he is actually frustrated. So he's going for the skirmisher, and he is not going to hit it. Again, it's 60%. Perhaps a bit of frustration at this point, taking risks himself. And now, what is the most important target here? He's probably also a bit confident that he has so many Griffin riders. It does not even matter if he loses 1 or 2, because he has enough units everywhere to deal damage. Again, slow, reliable reinforcements in terms of thunderers, but the key point here to remember, the key word to remember is slow. So again, I am trying to clear up these units. Unfortunately, I don't manage to. Okay, so a lot of misses from my side as well, but I had quite good luck the other turns, so I can't really complain. Now, on this side, I am doing quite a lot of hits on the Griffin Rider, which will enable me to level up my Ogre. And there you go, 16 gold unit kills 24 gold units. So he came all the way around. That's the problem with Griffins, and he knows it. But given how far ahead he was, mass Griffin recruit did make sense, especially since I was going Saurian. So the problem is that I managed to kill this force too quickly before the Griffins could come, simply because his leader was in the middle of the map, and then he had to go back before he was able to recruit. I'm now using my newly healed Clasher, and again, as you can see, he can't really reach this village, no matter how he does it. So with an 8 hit points footpad, there's really not much he can do. However, this particular Ogre is on 40% and vulnerable at this moment, so he is going to go for that Ogre, gets 2 out of 2. Was about time, I would say, but this is a 60% Ogre, so he's not able to kill it. Now he's going to recruit some outlaws for faster reinforcements to get there during the night. I have to manage my experience in such a way that the clasher gets the experience here. So finally the clasher gets the experience. So I get a second level 2. Okay, no luck on that. Okay, that was an important kill right there. So you saw what I did there. Unfortunately, the level 2 got the kill, so I wasn't able to level up another auger, which was about to level up. So I used this auger here, and I needed one shot with the skirmisher versus 70%, and I got it. The problem is now I have my level 2 on 40%, and the Griffin Rider might try to capitalize on this. There isn't. I killed the other Griffin Rider. And this particular Fire Drake must be incredibly frustrating because he can't really come. So you saw how taking risks, I mean, it's very difficult to attack with Drake, especially into this choke point. It's easy to attack on large battlefields, but here it's particularly difficult to attack on the left-hand side. And now this Fire Drake must be incredibly frustrating because there is really nothing he can use to kill it. Perhaps backstab, but yeah, he could backstab. However, the thief dies in one hit, so it's really risky. And at this point, I think I am coming back into the game. As you can see, I'm even ahead in units. Killed. He gets 2 out of 2 and he gets a level 2. However, I do have my augurs around and I do have my leader, and I even have another augur if needed. So what I am going to do is basically finally finish off this thief and focus my full attention onto this Griffin Master. And as you can see, I'm not leveling this particular unit, which is very close to leveling up anyway. I'm leveling the other one, which was far away. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 level 2s on the field, and this is what happens when you take risks with Drake, and they pay off. So you suddenly start killing units, and then you get stronger units, which makes killing even easier. And then if you manage your experience well, you can make these survival-like comebacks, which can happen, but it's never guaranteed. You have to take risks at one point, and they have to pay off. Okay, it's difficult for him to advance. So at this point, with my level 2, I'm able to deal a lot of damage, as you can see. And he can't really even reach with this 4 movement Thunderer. He can't really attack this particular Fire Drake because he will just get insane retaliation damage, and he can't really stay here as well because I have my ambusher. Again, he can't really take this particular village either because I am in range of him. So that would be an easy kill if he takes the village. So the game stabilizes again. However, I have a lot of level 2s, so I would say I am at an advantage. And at this point, he says he doesn't want to play it. I understand. It is frustrating. I deserved to lose. However, I took some risks, some pretty high risks here. It was a high reward, very high risk situation. It took some risks as well here with the clashes and attacking back, but especially here, I took some risks and it paid off. And usually with Drake, you will fail in your attack simply because it's so easy for your opponent to defend. But then if your opponent is the one doing the attack, and he basically gets into this trance of I am ahead, I need to attack at all cost, I need to get villages at all cost, you might have a chance where you forget about the villages, you keep killing units, and you crawl back into the game. It's one of the characteristics that I've seen in high tier games where a Drake faction is involved. Anyways, I hope you guys like this comeback with taking some pretty significant risks. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know whether you are following this following this cast, whether you are excited to play Drake, because I know lots of players hate this particular faction. Again, Glass Cannon, really interesting faction and very unforgiving. I hope you guys, ladies and gentlemen, liked it, and I shall see you later.